Hi there again, and welcome to part 2 of our creating portfolio in Flash. This time we're going to learn how to create graphic symbols and animate them using motion tweens. We'll also learn the fundamentals of creating a movie clip to put right here as a rotating logo. Alright, so the first thing that we want to do is, you notice here I have a keyframe, another keyframe, and a line with an arrow, and that signifies that that is a motion tween. So let's learn how to do that. Well, in frame 10 we have here our about title, and we want to animate that from frame 10 to frame 19 where it stops and have the title slide in. Now the first thing that we need to do is to select the title, and notice that I didn't click on a particular frame, which again selects the title, but I'll click off, and I'll click on the title. You notice that it selects all those frames because we want the entire title here to be converted to a symbol called a graphic. And to do that, we highlight that and modify, convert to symbol, or use the shortcut F8. We'll choose graphic. Let's give it a name. This is our about title. And the registration point doesn't matter for this one, and select OK. Now you'll notice that's been added to our library as a symbol type graphic, and we can now animate it. So let's go ahead and choose the 19th frame and convert that normal frame into a keyframe. And now we can go anywhere in between and make a change to it. Let's go to the first frame here where our title appears, and let's just move it over. And anywhere in between the keyframe right here, you can then choose tween from your properties inspector and motion. And notice the arrow. As we scrub the timeline, it goes from where we told it to be on frame 10 to where it was on frame 19, and that is a motion tween. We can even add some changes to it. Select, for example, select that frame, and you might want to go here and let's say rotate it a little bit. Well, that'll be added to the tween effect, and it will not only slide in, it'll rotate up as it does that. Now you may say, well, that's a long time. It's a slow effect. I want it to be a little quicker. So we're going to take our 19th frame. We're going to click and slide it over here so that the entire motion tween is only 1, 2, 3 frames. So it's very quick. So it's like that. All right, and that'll add a lot, and then it'll stay. And then, of course, the timeline will stop, so the animation won't repeat itself because we have our action script for stops put in strategic places like we did in part 1. Let's do that again. We need to do it 2 more times. Let's go to the next one here on frame 20. Select our title and convert it to a symbol of type graphic and give it the proper name. And this is our 3D title graphic, and notice that, and we'll convert this last frame here into a keyframe, and then I can go back to frame 20 where the first frame of the title is, and now I can just move it, and this frame is different from this frame, so now in between here I can tell it to motion tween, and the computer will do all of the work in between. See that? That's what it's called, a tweening. And again, I can add a little bit of flair to it by using my transform tool right here and give it a little bit of rotation so that as it slides in, it rotates up. And then again, to be consistent, let's shorten the length of that tween to something very quick. And I like that. And we'll do it one more time. Let's come here to frame 30, select the title artwork, and convert that to a symbol. And we'll call that artwork title, and we'll do the same thing. Convert to a keyframe, go to frame 30, select it, and move it. Let's right click on the timeline and do this a shortcut. Instead of going down here and doing it, we'll go right click somewhere in between our keyframes, create our motion tween. Notice that the line is solid. If it's broken, then there's something wrong, and it's most usually the fact that it has not been converted to a symbol correctly. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll take our first frame here of our animation and rotate it ever so slightly. So we have that. Beautiful. And then we'll shorten the duration of the animation. So it's very quick. And we can test that out. And it works fine. Alrighty. So that's part 1 of this tutorial, is to create our simple motion tweens. Now the next thing would be to create a logo. Now I'll make a new layer here. I'm going to call it logo. Alright, so I'll go to my layer properties here and we'll change this to logo. And I want a logo to be spinning here in the corner, and one that's spinning and available to us throughout the entire portfolio. So I can't do this on this main timeline here because I have stops. So I couldn't put a tween in and have it rotate because it would stop rotating every time it got to a stop, and it would never repeat. So I need to do something here, and that's to create the almighty and powerful movie clip. And the movie clip is sort of a self-contained Flash movie with its own timeline that we could have it just be a repeating animation, and then we can bring it up to our main timeline. So in order to do that, I'm going to insert a new symbol. This symbol is going to be of type movie clip, and we'll call it our spinning logo movie clip. Notice that I'm in a new timeline here, and I can just start drawing some graphics. So I can use just a square, and we could create another one possibly. Let's try this. We'll take that and maybe give it a little darker color. Maybe we'll rotate it and move it over here, and we'll see what that looks like. Sort of like some type of logo. Alright. And then we'll take, well, let's throw some text in there. We'll put a text as we have our logo, and maybe even change this font. Let's see here. Let's give it a cool font. Oh, there we go. That one's very nice. And I should probably make that a little bit lighter. And we'll put that right there. Maybe make it bold. All right. So now that we have that all set, I'm going to highlight, using my selection tool, the entire sort of composition I've made right there, and I'm going to convert all of that artwork into a symbol using modify, convert to symbol, and I'm going to convert that into a graphic. And the reason is we need to convert that into a graphic so that we can animate that. So I'm going to call that my logo graphic. And the registration point is going to be in the middle, and I can now give it a number of frames. And I'm going to say I want to make this a 30 frame animation. I'm going to insert a keyframe. I'm going to select somewhere in the middle here and choose motion tween, and notice that we can now rotate it. We can rotate it clockwise or counterclockwise. Let's do it clockwise one time, and you'll notice that the computer will do all of that animation. Now here is a unique tip and a very important tip for you. Notice that frame 1 of our animation and frame 30 of our animation are the same. Well, when you play this animation, it's going to look like it has a sort of a hiccup to it. And that is because we need to get rid of that frame now. And it doesn't matter if we've done it 40 frames or 100 or just 20. That last frame will always be the same as the first frame when doing that type of rotating tween. So here is the fix for that. Select the next to last frame, the penultimate frame, and convert that to a keyframe. Then take that final frame and remove it. And now you'll see that that frame, being the last frame in the animation, is the very next frame before it repeats itself on the first frame, and then it'll look nice and smooth. Let's go back out to our scene and make sure we're on our correct layer here. And let's take our logo, which has been added to our library, our spinning logo, and bring that up here. And what's nice about it being a movie clip is we can use our transform tool and resize it to whatever we want. And we can put that right there. And now as we test it, hit Control Enter, you'll notice that the logo spins in the background, or spins sort of on our title. And that timeline is independent of our main timeline. So it doesn't matter that we have stops here and there. That being a movie clip is independent of this main timeline. Now the last thing that you might want to do is to add a background. So what I would do is just insert a layer here, bring it down to the bottom, call it background, and then you could import a graphic or pull one up that you have. Some of you may be fans of Batman. And I have my logo here. I might want to make it resize like this, just for fun. And then being a graphic symbol, this is the important part, notice that I can then mess with its alpha value. And I can fade it out so that it just blends into the background. And I can even go back and change the overall property. If we lock that, I can go and change the overall property of the background of my movie, turn it to black, and you'll see that I have it all completed. And then if I hit Control Enter to test it, you can see the final work. Thank you.